Hello and welcome to the Sophia Report Writer tutorial. My name is Rachel and I am so excited to be sharing the latest premium offering from SchoolPsychAI. Sophia Report Writer is here to help automate your school psych workflow. All you have to do is enter basic information, enter in your standard scores, and Sophia will take care of the rest. Let's start with how to access the Sophia Report Writer. You'll open up Google Chrome, that's the preferred web browser to use for our platform, and you'll type in app.schoolpsych.ai. And you'll see it takes you to this screen where you can simply sign up or sign in if you're already a premium user. So this is the screen that you will see once you have logged in and you've selected Report Writer here on the left panel. I'm going to quickly do an overview of all of the different components within this Report Writer, and then we will take a deeper dive into all of the features and all of the assessments. So starting off, you'll see at the top, we have our title, confidential strength-based evaluation report, and from there we have all of the subsections. So demographic information, student strengths. We wanted that to be the first section after demographic information. That way we can really highlight that individual's strengths, talents, and interests. That was really important to us. Next, we have background information and then a way to kind of get some ideas on what should be in each section there. Then we have referral questions that will be addressed within the evaluation report that you can add based on that particular student. Next, we have the evaluation plan, so all of the different assessment names and the dates of those assessments. And don't worry, that will auto-populate for you. Next, we have the evaluation findings, spots for student interview to make sure that their voice is included, parent or caregiver interviews, teacher interviews, observations, and then testing observations is included up at the top. And there's a couple different sentence starters here that are in gray so that you visually know these are some ideas, and I'm going to tweak it and customize it from there. Then we also have a summary section, again, with just some ideas to get you started. And next we have educational implications. So this could be their educational needs, potential interventions that might be important to note, those kinds of things. Next is recommendations. We want to make sure that we are including those actionable next steps to leverage the student's strengths in a way that helps with any challenges or areas of concern that might have come up. And then the last section, summary of strengths. So of course, we know a lot about the student going into the evaluation, but then also pulling in those really great pieces of strength, interest, talents that we've discovered with those additional assessments. So we wanted to bookend that strength section at the beginning and then the summary of strengths at the end. So that is what we call the report shell, or kind of what the report starts out looking like. You'll also see at the top that there's some different icons for formatting. We'll talk about those in a minute. You'll also see this button up here that says Tools. If you click that, that side panel will either pop out or collapse depending on what your screen setup looks like. If you want more white space, things like that. Sometimes we do split screens, right? If we're traveling and we're just on our laptops. So that may be helpful if you're in that situation to have that collapsed. But for me, I like to leave it popped out. The next button that you'll see is Reset Editor. This is to kind of clean slate, start over. And if you click on that, you'll notice that this window pops up that asks, are you really sure? Because that means all of your data will be permanently deleted and it can't be undone. So Please make sure that if you are resetting the editor that you listen to this pop-up and make sure that you really are okay with resetting. So I'm going to click reset just to kind of show you what that looks like. It brings you back to this same report shell here. The next button that you see is export, and that's kind of the final step in the evaluation report once you're all finished, and we will talk about that at the end of the tutorial. The other piece within this editor that I wanted to point out is this right side panel. So you'll see there's demographic information that's live. You can click in there and help with some automation. We have assessments. That tab is live. That's where the assessment library lives, where you can pull in the different evaluation tools that were used for that evaluation plan. Two of the tabs that are not yet live but are coming soon is a chat feature with Sophia and the summarizer tool, all within the platform. I also wanted to show some different formatting options available to you within the report writer. So let's say you have a particular string of text that you wanted to make bold. I'll just type an example sentence, and we would just simply click and highlight that text. And then up at the top, you'll see the different icons for some formatting options. And I'm going to click on B for bold. And now you can see the text is bold. Alternatively, I could use italics or even underline and make it as customized as I want to. In addition to the formatting features, there's also ways to create a bulleted list. Or if you'd rather have a numbered list, you can also do that. And click up here to numbers, and it will give you a numbered list. Next, let's talk about demographic information, because Sophia has got your back and she is going to automate all of this for you. So if we click on that tab, this side panel will pop out, and you can see there's two different categories of demographic information pertaining to that particular student, and then information about the specifics regarding the evaluation. So let's do an example. We'll make this evaluation about myself. So I'll just fill in my name, and I'll give myself a fake date of birth here. Let's see. And what you're not able to see on this screen overlay is I'm using the calendar feature. So once you click on that field where you see a little calendar, it will pop up and you can select from there. All right, so I'm going to select my pronouns for this student. I'm going to select she, her. And then for the age, I'm going to select 10, attending school. We've got example elementary school. And then maybe I'm in 5th grade. And I've got a fake student ID number there. Okay, that looks pretty good. Coming down to evaluation details, I'm going to fill out some fake dates regarding my fake evaluation. So same thing, whenever you see this calendar icon, once you click, it will pop up, and then you just select that. So I'm going to say that I was referred the last day of January by Mrs. Example. And I know it's going to look different depending on where you are and what your state rules are. So don't come for me if these dates don't make sense. All right, I'm going to say the review date was the next week, and we got consent shortly after, and maybe our meeting is here. Okay, and then last, the name of the school psychologist, I'm going to choose Dr. McClure. I don't think he will mind. And then you can click Update Values. And once you're done, you'll click the X, and that side panel will go away, bringing you back to the main editor. And as you can see, all of these different fields have been filled in automatically and then throughout the report. So where it used to say the student's first name or the field for that, now it says Rachel in all of these places. So that is designed to help make sure that we are automating as much as we can and saving you time to not have to type and retype the same things. Something else to note with the demographic information is if you add another assessment down the line to your report and you notice that those kind of first name, last name fields are popping back up, all you have to do is come back to demographic information and click on update values, and it will again auto-populate those throughout that new assessment that you've added. Alternatively, if you had a meeting maybe cancel or move to another attempt for that meeting, you can come in here, click on that new date, and it will update for you throughout the report. Next, we are going to walk through how to add particular assessment tools to the report shell. So if you look on the side panel, the next button is assessments. So if I click on that, this side panel will pop out. And you might have noticed there's a couple different icons going on as well. That green check mark lets us know that that assessment has been entered, it's locked in, and the data is in the report. This other icon down here with the exclamation point and the more yellow triangle or orange triangle, this lets us know that we've started entering data for a particular assessment, but we're not done. It's not locked in. It is very important to note that as we enter data within Sophia Report Writer, that we are entering in the scaled scores, standard scores, T-scores, not raw scores. So Sophia Report Writer is not converting raw scores. It's a way to enter in your information so that it auto-populates the table and your interpretive section for you. So again, make sure you're entering already converted standard scores, not raw scores. Let's say that we are ready to finish entering data for the ABAS. I would just click on that assessment, and as you can see, it saved some of the data that I started entering. So let's finish this out. Let's say we've got some fake scores in here. Again, this would be a really interesting profile for the sake of the tutorial. I'm just entering in some nonsense data, and we'll make this here. And let's say that I just had one rater, which is probably not likely for most of us. We're probably getting information from lots of people, but let's say I only have the one parent rater and I'm finished. I would click add to report. And now you can see that icon has changed to a green check mark. So now that we have finished entering in the different assessments as part of this particular evaluation plan, we're ready to review the information and customize from there. So as I scroll down to the first assessment that we entered, let's say we started with the WISC. And as you can see here, the WISC and the ABAS both show up under the evaluation plan section. So we're going to keep scrolling down to the WISC. And for all of the assessments within the report writer, you will see the name of the particular assessment and similar headings no matter what. So test purpose and description, a nice blurb, some color-coded information around the different types of scores. So for the WISC, standard scores, scaled scores, the range of percentile rank, and interpretation, or the specific qualitative descriptors that the test publisher uses. And then from here, I can review what was generated in the testing environment. There's a couple things here that visually I know that I need to tweak. Anything that's in this gray color is part of the template that we'll need to adjust. And then anything, again, with these kind of brackets around there will need to be customized to that student as well. And then test results. So you'll see the color-coded table that is generated for you based on that data that you entered. So you'll see the name of the test, a short description of what that student was required or asked to do during that test, how they performed, and then it auto-populates that percentile rank as well as the interpretation or the qualitative descriptor for you. And then down below, you'll see the test interpretation section, and it auto-populates based on the data that you have entered. So for this one, we see average, low average is listed here, very low, things like that. So after I review the information that was generated by Sophia and the report writer, I'm going to make sure to customize this even further. So let's say under verbal comprehension, there was something in particular to note. I can come in within the report writer and make those edits. This is just an example sentence. Maybe I want to include some additional information. Maybe there's some bullet points that I want to include as well. I can kind of customize it from there. If you have nothing to report for that particular subtest, you can leave the score as 0 and it will take it out of the table for you. So let's walk through an example. Let's say that I administered the KTEA and I only really investigated math. Maybe that was the only area that I needed to do some assessment in. I would come up here, click on the date that I administered the assessment, and I'm going to skip all of these and leave them as 0. Let's say that I only administered math computation and math concepts and applications. And let's say that I scored maybe a 65 here and a 70 here. So what we will do is leave the rest as 0 and click Add to Report. And then we'll close out of the assessments, come back over to our report, and we're going to scroll down to the KTEA. And as you can see, we have only those 2 assessments that show up in our data table. So let's say you are someone who doesn't give out as many rating scales as our report writer allows for, and that's okay. What you'll do is you'll just leave that data empty and it will gray it out for you. We are currently problem solving a way to delete that column, similar to how we delete rows in our report writer. But for right now, it shows up gray, and you can always delete those after you export. Speaking of exporting, let's talk about that final step in the process of writing your report through Sophia Report Writer. All you would have to do once you're all finished is come up to the top and click on Export. From there, it will drop into your downloads within your Google Chrome web browser. And then from there, you are ready to share your recommendations and those actionable next steps to the school team, to caregivers. Maybe it's uploaded to your student information system. It's ready for you to take it to that next step of problem solving for that student. We want to continue expanding our assessment template library to include as many interviews, observations, one-to-one assessments, and rating scales as possible. We want to build this out with your feedback. So what assessments do you want to see next? You can try Sophia Report Writer at app.schoolpsych.ai, or you can scan this QR code and it will take you directly there. Thank you for watching our tutorial on Sophia Report Writer. Be sure to give it a try and let us know what you think.